Hey everybody, welcome to episode 23 of Valiant Effort. My name's Josh.
I'm Nick, and this is Insecurity.
In this episode, Nick and I will struggle to not talk about politics. At least not talk about them awkwardly.
At least up until book 3.
We are going to fail. And we are going to lose half of our audience. Hey Nick, you have some corrections?
Yes, I have some corrections that I wanted to mention from last episode, which was Sex Civil War. I was talking about time dilation and all that stuff, and this is for all you people that were really interested in that conversation. None of them. So I just wanted to set the record straight. First of all, I gave an airplane example of when the airplane is up farther. It says the clock is slower by a minute or two. It's actually just like maybe a few seconds, but it's because it takes a longer time to get 1 minute done. And you asked me later on in that episode, in that same discussion about astronauts in space, if they age slower, and I said I don't know, but then I answered the question like a few minutes afterwards.
Yeah.
Yes, they do age slower, and it's because they are traveling faster. They're traveling like a few thousand miles an hour in space, so they do actually age slower. The other interesting thing is I was watching a Neil deGrasse Tyson lecture just a few days after we recorded the last episode. He talked about a hypothetical particle called the tachyon particle. You may have heard that in Star Trek.
Yeah, in Star Trek, tachyon particles are used as kind of like a catch-all to describe weird sciencey things.
E equals MC squared says that nothing can accelerate faster than the speed of light, but that doesn't say anything already traveling faster than the speed of light, and that's what the tachyon particle is. It's a hypothetical particle traveling faster than the speed of light. And what's really cool about the tachyon particle is that it's traveling backwards through time, because when you accelerate faster towards the speed of light, time slows down, and then once you pass that threshold of light, now you're going backwards. So physicists are trying ways to discover this particle, because at some point that particle, even though it's traveling backwards through time, must at some point intersect with our reality, and they're looking for ways to possibly look for it. And I just think that's really cool. I think the tachyon particle is really neat.
Quantum is tired. You see, last week his whole life got turned upside down. His father died. He was in an accident with his brother Woody that gave him superpowers but also makes him disintegrate. This really scary skinny lady tried to kill him. And even though that adventure is over, things are getting worse. Woody has moved in with him, and he's brought a clone and a goat with him. Quantum, in an attempt to return his life to normalcy, goes to work. Woody goes looking for a party. After work, Quantum hopes to find some supervillains to fight. Instead, he finds a party, while Woody finds the supervillains. The next day, Magnum, Quantum's boss, tells Quantum that he knows he's a superhero, and if he doesn't want his identity revealed to the public, he needs to go on a suicide mission. Quantum thinks that's amazing. Quantum goes to Montana to stop a militia that wants to overthrow the government. Woody tags along because they need to clang their wristbands every 24 hours or that disintegrate thing happens. While Quantum is investigating the militia, Woody realizes that Magnum is setting him up to die. Quantum decides to infiltrate the militia, but fails when he realizes there are no black people in it. Quantum is imprisoned by the militia. Woody escapes Magnum's forces, but is later imprisoned by the militia. Lots of funny things happen during all that, but my synopsis was getting a little long, so I thought I'd cut to the chase. Magnum's forces converge on the militia's compound. Quantum decides he's going to lead the militia against Magnum. Quantum is finally able to control his powers. He leads the militia to victory. What's next for our intrepid heroes? Goat number 0.
I thought goat number 0 was going to be in this issue for some reason.
Oh, because the last page kind of hints that just turn the page and you're going to get the next one. Well, you're going to have to wait for volume 3, my friend.
All right. Okay, so the very first panels during this dream state, what comic were they parodying? Is that Batman?
Yeah, dude. Quantum's got Batman voice.
All right.
Just like Archer.
Bottoms up. It's like the only person I could hear saying that is Adam West.
Yeah, so he's got like Adams West Batman voice, but then later he's got regular Batman voice.
Christian Bale Batman voice. Is there a regular Batman voice?
I guess whoever's currently doing it would be the regular Batman voice. So, however Ben Affleck sounds. Kevin Conroy is Batman voice. He's the guy who did Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah, actually, I was just trying to think of his name.
The great thing about that is Batman is his regular voice, and he changed his voice when he was Bruce Wayne.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that is how that character should be played.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah. So you want to talk about the art?
Okay.
The art's done by Ming Doyle. The story's written by James Asmus, who wrote the first volume. Ming Doyle did the art for this volume. She did all 4 issues.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
It's not my favorite type of art, but it actually didn't bother me for this type of story.
Interesting, yeah. So there's a lot of controversy about the choice of Ming Doyle for doing the artwork, which really bothers me. Because I think that the art is awesome. I don't think she knows how to draw cars and planes, but I don't care because she knows how to draw people and facial expressions, and I understand what the person is thinking in their brain by looking at the picture. It does have a very indie feel to it, though. It does feel a lot like the comics that you may find in Artist Alley at a show, independently published stuff. But I really like it. I think Jordi Belair does a really good job with the colors too, to emphasize her style. People hated her artwork in this. Particularly, there was so much conversation about how one of the cars looked like a potato.
Really?
Yeah. And I honestly, she doesn't do a great job drawing cars, but I think that she's a better artist than people gave her credit for. And I think that people should go to her website and look at her artwork. She does an amazing job with facial expressions.
So it's pretty much decided for me that Clayton Crane's my favorite artist out of everybody I've seen so far.
Cool.
Clayton Crane doesn't fit with Quantum and Woody because he's very, very realistic. And
yeah.
Quantum and Woody are cartoony.
Yeah. In fact, Clayton Crane did one of the covers. I don't know if you noticed it. And it just doesn't fit to me. It's too, you're right. It's too hype. It's too realistic. And I totally agree. They're cartoon characters and they should be drawn kind of in a cartoony way, I think.
I guess there's like a science to it. The artist and the story both have to match.
Yeah.
If they don't match, like Clayton Crane in Quantum and Woody, might not be a perfect match.
Yeah, Ming Doyle should not be drawing Shadow Man.
I agree.
Yeah.
In this case, for me, not my favorite type of artist of art. However, it fits really well with this type of storyline because it's just the way that it flows. It looks cartoony to me. So, I think I was fine with it. I actually thought about it in book 3. I was thinking, like the art hasn't changed, and I'm not a big fan of it, but it doesn't bother me at all. On to the next part. There's a section in the very first page of book 1 in the black border. It says, "Removed to avoid a lawsuit from Warner Brothers." Man, what lawsuit from Warner Brothers? What are they talking about?
Bat. That's covering up the word bat.
How am I supposed to know that? I guess if I was a comic book reader, I'd probably know that.
Because you're supposed to be reading it in Batman voice. I'm the goddamn Batman.
Did you see that link that I put on WordPress? Yeah. By the way, I put a link on the WordPress to all our listeners. On our website. About that college Schumer Batman trying to find his voice thing. So check it out if you care. Okay. Who? I'm moving on now to 69.
Yeah.
The girl's 69.
Yeah, that's a little on the nose. Okay. Are we really still at a point as a society where whenever we hear the number 69, we just go into these little giggle fits?
I'm sorry I giggled, all right?
It's stupid. The number 69 means a lot of things. Did you know that 69 is semi-prime? It's a semi-prime number. It's important to know that. It's the atomic number for thulium. 69 is the registry number for the U.S. Navy's aircraft carrier, the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower. That man deserves respect. It's more than just a sexual position, and I'm tired of people using the number 69 just to make a really quick, fast joke. It's not funny. And while we're on the subject, okay, this girl, and she is a girl, okay? She's 19, she may be an adult, but she is really innocent. She has not had a lot of life experiences, and those scenes are a little too statutory rapey for me.
Yeah, but she's still legal.
Is she? She's grown in a test tube. How old is she really? Maybe she was hyper-accelerated in age to 19. The scenes make me uncomfortable.
There's a lot of them in this book, then.
Yes.
This entire book must have made you uncomfortable.
It's just very statutory to me. That's all.
Who is she, though? I can't remember who she is.
She's the clone of the skinny evil lady of the head of the ERA.
I don't remember anything about a clone. I don't.
There was like 100 of them. They were all wearing the same outfit.
Oh, I remember them now. Yeah, they were wearing the same outfit.
She was the youngest of the clones. The detective is like the oldest of the clones. And then there was a bunch that died.
I remember that now. It's been a while since we read the last Quantum and Woody. I'm not surprised that this is happening, that I'm forgetting. Quantum and Eric are bickering like usual, and Eric says you and me, and then Woody says it's you and I, and then he says no, they're not. And throughout the rest of the book, they said that Eric was right, and just saying, yes, he's right. He's right. It's you and me. It's not you and I.
Eric is right about a lot of his arguments.
I am a grammar Nazi. It's not between you and I. It's between you and me.
So do you know what a growlix is?
I know what a cowlick is.
That's not what I asked. I did not ask you about your hair. I asked what a growlix. Do you know what a growlix is?
No.
Okay. So a growlix is when, because you can't swear in a comic, they put little symbols instead. And these are all throughout this book, and I hate them. I hate growlixes. I think they're stupid. You have a 19-year-old in a bathtub, but you can't spell out the word shit. It's S-H-I-T. It's no big deal. Just write it. These little symbols, they pull me out of the story because often I can't figure out what that word is. And then I have to, think of my inner urban dictionary and try to figure out what disgusting, depraved thing that word could possibly be. Because it's not just simply the F word. Sometimes it's weirder than that. And it pulls me out of the story when I see those, because I'm trying to figure out what that word is.
There have only been 2 times in this book when I didn't really have an idea what they were saying.
Well, it's usually the S word.
Yeah, and actually, what they did, what was pretty clever, they actually spelt out shit.
Well, yeah.
With just other symbols, which I thought was neat, actually.
Well, I guess I thought that was neat when I first saw it.
Well, it's...
When I was younger.
I'm new to this! I thought that was clever.
Yeah.
But apparently it's not. Anymore. The last part in book 1 that stuck out to me was when Eric went to crash that rave party, and he thought it was some big illegal crime thing going on, or just happened to be that rave party. That's what I expected the whole series to be.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about in the last time we read Quantum and Woody. It was just them trying their best to break up these things going on, and they keep screwing up.
And also not necessarily super villainy, like regular things.
Yes,
yeah,
like regular things, just like that. That's
so
exactly.
One of my notes from the 3rd issue is I wrote, this story is a lot more down to earth, which was your complaint. So I remembered that you felt that way, and this I agree. The whole thing is a lot more grounded. I love the to be continued joke at the end of the first book, where
Oh, you turn
he
the
says
next page.
he says it's going to be a suicide mission. It says to be continued, and then you turn the next page, and it's like that's awesome. I gotta tell you that read a lot better in the single issue format than it did in the trade. Because in the trade, you would just then turn the next page, and then you would read the next part of the story. But as an end of an issue, that was very funny. When Karen first got the book, she stopped reading at the to be continued.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, I said, did you turn the page? And she said, no. Why was I supposed to? And I said, yeah. You always got to. There could be more.
I thought that was clever. I thought that was neat.
I thought it was funny. Yeah.
Why would Quantum agree to a mission that he was not briefed about at all until they're actually on scene?
Because he used to be in the army, and then he got discharged from the army, as we saw, for a noble reason. I think it was a noble reason why he got discharged. And so when he was done with the army, he was working in private security, but he was really a glorified mall cop, and I'm sure that was frustrating for him. So
Yeah.
the opportunity to have a mission, he doesn't care what it is. He's just ready to have a mission.
Okay. What does that look on 69's face when Woody says, "I'll sext you later"? She looks.
When they're having their conversation on the phone on the way to Montana.
Yes.
Yeah.
She looks like she has a hidden agenda with that look.
Yeah, she looks evil. I don't know. I don't think she's evil.
You think it was just the way that it's drawn?
I think maybe she tried to draw her mad about how they're not having a because he does cut her off. She's trying to talk to him and he cuts her off, so maybe that makes her grumpy. But then when we see her later, she's not grumpy. So
Yeah. Okay. All right. I thought that there was like some hidden meaning behind that,
yeah,
but I guess there wasn't one. And again, I asked this in the last episode that we talked about Quantum and Woody. What are these black banners with there's like 3 or 4 words in them? I don't get them.
they're chapter headings.
Well, they're chapter headings.
Yeah, I guess, and they're supposed to be funny. The first volume of Quantum and Woody, those exist, and so the author is doing the same thing.
Okay. I guess that makes sense now that they're chapter headings. I just didn't know. I thought that they were just narrator, like some kind of narration or something, which made no sense to me.
I think they're just like chapter names, and sometimes it's a joke that ties into what's happening.
But it's not something that other comics do. That's why it was a little confusing to me, because I've just never seen anything like that before. Not that I am a regular comic reader, which is the whole point of this show. But it's just, again, it's
not the whole point of the show. You're not the show.
I'm the hook. In your words, I'm the hook. It's just
I'm part of the show too.
Yeah, you just keep thinking that, buddy. No, honestly though, like we would not be here if you hadn't brought this up to me. So,
well, you wouldn't have randomly picked up Valiant comics and said, "I'm going to do a podcast by myself about them."
Well, I might have been thinking about it, and then you just decided to come up before I don't know. Okay, I'm just gonna get off on those because now it's been established that they're chapter headings.
Yes,
in a sense.
For me, that's how I view them. So
I get that makes the most sense than anything else, than like a meanwhile or something. Okay.
Me first, because this is partly my show.
Oh. It's like 10% yours.
No. Like 1%.
Oh, nice segue.
Nice segue. So I really liked how the guys on the top of the building, were talking about the 1% and that kind of thing. It's It's a cool little tie-in to the universe as a whole, the Valiant universe as a whole. But what I really liked about it is Quantum is listening and he thinks, "Oh, these guys are crazy because nothing like that could happen." But it is. It's happening.
Yeah.
In another part of the Valiant universe.
Were they referencing what we just read in the Harbinger's story?
No, they were referencing stuff we read in Archer and Armstrong.
Okay, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Were they referencing things that just happened in Archer and Armstrong?
Yeah, well, they were talking about the nuns in Rome. So that's
Yep.
the first volume of Archer and Armstrong. Yep.
So that's pretty cool. That they were just so basically this story is happening in tandem of Archer and Armstrong.
Or it took a while for the conspiracy nuts to get it through the grapevine.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Mr. 99%, go on.
I like the Jesus password.
Okay.
I thought that was funny. It's totally predictable. Totally something that guy would pick.
Yeah. I like Woody's reaction. First of all, he thought it, so he's just as bad for thinking that that's the password. But I like his reaction, like, "Oh my god, that's the password! I can't believe that's the password."
I know he's like
This guy.
And he's like, "Oh, and also gross."
So book 2 ends with my favorite line, I think, in the entire Quantum and Woody series so far. "You're right, Mom. The president is coming to take our guns."
Yeah, that was funny.
All right, more on that later. Why do you think that Quantum is this malicious role model? Like they're all like, "Oh, Quantum, we got his mask," and they all have these hand-sewn Quantum masks that they made. But that happened a week ago. Like we were told at the beginning of the story that happened a week ago, where he, the first story. So how can he be their role model yet? It seems a little quick. This is
pretty quick.
This is a nitpick. I'll say it's a nitpick, but
that is pretty quick. I'm trying to think of a reason why, but I really can't think. I feel like you'd have to prove yourself more in order to be a role model, first of all.
Shall we debate Don't Ask, Don't Tell since it was in the story? Well, I think it's stupid. Look, I don't want to fight in a war. I'm a pacifist. But I understand the importance of having an army. So why limit who's going to be in that army? I would prefer not to fight. That probably makes me sound like a terrible person, but it's just not who I am. It's not part of my character. So I never understood Don't Ask, Don't Tell, because you have people who are willing to fight. Why not let them?
Yeah, I'm on the same page. I've always thought that, not everyone is going to want to put their lives on the line. If there are people willing to fight for their country, then why would you keep them from fighting for their country? Never made any sense to me either, so I agree that Don't Ask, Don't Tell should be next.
Do you think that Eric did the right thing after his superior had gotten drummed out of the army for being gay? Do you think he did the right thing by what he does is he kisses in the shower, he kisses the man who was responsible for his superior getting drummed out, thus causing both that man and Eric to get drummed out as well for the same thing?
I think that was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Very, as you said earlier, very noble of him. What he did, because he really respected his superior, he wanted to avenge his superior, and that's the best way to do it. That guy had no right to go and be a douche, and he was. So he sacrificed himself for the greater good. And it's kind of a superhero thing in all of itself.
Yeah, he's very ethical.
Yeah,
He's very noble. I thought that series of flashbacks was a good example of his character and the kind of person that he wants to be. And I agree with you. I think that you don't have to wear a mask to be a superhero. So I think it's interesting that in this story where he's being the most heroic is the time when he's not wearing a mask, but he wants to be a superhero so bad and he wears the mask and he keeps messing up at that time.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic. That keeps happening. So Woody is now trying to save his own life by buying time from Magnum to get him baptized. And then Magnum falls for it, kind of. And he says, "Oh, that's great." And he tears up. And I just love the technical use of the different font face, because with that different font face, I could hear him preaching. Like, yeah. "Oh, you sinner!" And I'm not going to do that again because I cannot preach, apparently.
Well, I think if you want to be a preacher, you can't be an introvert by nature.
I totally failed at that.
Yeah, no, you can use font change to change intonation, certainly. So
that's the first time I really noticed it that way, and then it just clicked with me with other
usually
things.
We see different fonts for like alien sounds. You know, Alien has an alien-y voice, so the font looks different. Or in Shadow Man, you know, they sound dark.
Yeah, so it's like chiller type font face.
Yeah.
The little blood drips and that's when it clicked.
Yeah, but you can absolutely hear his voice change. Yeah, that's a good pickup.
I like that. I just think it's a really neat technical part of making comics in order to tell the story. Pretty neat. Okay, so now I'm going to confess my stupidity as a person.
Okay.
And my stupidity comes from the phrase that militia man says, "A pinko, commie, socialist, fascist, Black Panther." And then Quantum says, "It's not even possible to be those things combined." My stupidity is, I don't know what any of those are.
Okay.
I should know what all of those are, but I do not. I mean, I know, I've heard of, I remember the Communist Party.
Well, a pinko is what you call a communist.
I know
but a communist is not the same as a socialist, although some segments of our population would tell you that they're the same thing. And a fascist is not the same as a socialist, although some segments of our population would tell you that they're the same thing. And a Black Panther is a militia group, essentially, of African Americans who were fighting for their rights
in the 60s.
Yeah, there's still Black Panthers around, but they're not as prevalent as they used to be.
The Black Panthers is what I know the most out of any of those, because I did know that they're a militia group that fought for their rights for African American equality. But the other things, I still don't know what they are. I've never known. I just kind of gone through life just kind of pretending. And now I'm putting myself out there just in case somebody else doesn't know what it means.
So you're saying it's cool, man. I don't know what it means either.
I'm saying I'm hoping you'll tell us what they are.
Oh, you want me to tell you what these things are? No, I'm not going to do that.
All right.
I'm not going there because okay, this is the great thing about this story to me, is you have these entrenched, isolated, insular groups of people who are so extreme in their beliefs that they don't listen to moderates. Like, the reveal of Quantum being a Republican, I loved it. It's my favorite part. It's what I loved about the story the most, because he's not a Fox News Republican. You know, he's not a Sean Hannity Republican. He is a moderate Republican. I'm a moderate Democrat. I am not liberal to the extreme. I mean, I have some beliefs that are very liberal, but I have some other beliefs that are conservative. And I think that the majority of people in this country uh, have beliefs that straddle the fence. Most people are not one thing. Like, most people are not fully libertarian, although they have libertarian principles. Most people are not fully socialist, although they have socialist principles. Most people are not fully conservative, although they have conservative principles. Most people are not fully capitalist, although they have capitalist principles. I think that we succeed as a society when we're a mixture of good ideas and we throw away bad ideas. The reason I don't want to define socialist or define communist is the same reason I don't want to define feminist. Socialist is a good word. Feminist is a good word, but people have taken those words and bastardized them to mean something else. A feminist, right, is somebody who thinks that women should be as equal as men. Not a woman who's ripping off her bra and yelling in a man's face and demanding to have more rights than men.
Or and someone who wants to take the word man out of woman.
Right. That's not necessarily what a feminist is. But people have taken the word feminist and changed it for their own purposes, their own narrative, and now it's a dirty word. And people have done that with the word socialist. I think that most people would describe my personal beliefs as socialist, but there are things that I think that are good in capitalism as well. So, I'm a small business owner, and so I have to be capitalist on some level. I need to make money. I need to pay my mortgage and help my kids get through college and stuff. And the way that my society is established, I have to be better than not better. I have to compete with other people for those dollars. And I don't have a problem with that because I think that I'm really good at my job and I think that I can compete. I do think, though, with some things that there shouldn't be competition. I don't think that prisons should be privatized. I think that those should be run by the government. I think that hospitals shouldn't be privatized, and I think those should be run by the government. And that makes me a pretty crazy liberal for some people. But I just think that there are some things that there shouldn't be competition in, like especially pharmaceuticals. I don't think that there should be competition in pharmaceuticals because I don't think that people should be making money in pharmaceuticals. I think that the purpose of working in pharmaceuticals is to make people better. And if you're only making sure that rich people are better, because those are the people who can afford the medicine, then screw you. I don't like you. The way that I run the store that we're sitting in right now, I don't think that only rich people should get the best mattresses. I have my prices so that if you have you can afford a good night's sleep without spending a lot of money. And I do that, one, to compete. And I do that because that's who I am as a human being. And so I'm both capitalist and socialist at the same time. Does that make sense, what I just said?
Yes, actually.
Good. So the reveal of Eric being a Republican is to me, it's great because he's a moderate Republican and he looks at all the people around him and he goes, these people are crazy. He goes, I believe in fiscal conservatism. That's why I'm a Republican. I don't think that we should spend crazy amounts of money on things that are not worth it. And I guess I would describe myself as a fiscal conservative. Now, I know that there's somebody listening to this and they're screaming, well, how can you be a fiscal conservative and also think that hospitals should be run by the government? Well, I just do. I just do. I think that there's balance. So, what did you think of the reveal that Eric is a Republican?
I was surprised.
Yeah.
I never really thought about what his party affiliation was, but
So here's another thing that I'm glad you said that. Here's a thing that I really hate in this country. And I think that in this country, and not just this country, I think we as human beings are constantly picking teams. I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat, I'm a blue stater, I'm a red stater, but more than that, I'm white, I'm black. I wish that we weren't so busy deciding what team we were on and more interested in trying to just be a society. You know, we live in Connecticut. And if you live in Connecticut, you know that if you're on one side of the river, you're a Yankee fan. And if you're on the other side of the Connecticut River, you're a Red Sox fan. And if you happen to be a Yankee fan on our side of the river, you tend to get chastised by people because you like the Yankees. And if I wore my Red Sox hat on the other side of the river, I would be chastised because, oh, you like the Red Sox. And it's stupid. I like the Red Sox because I like baseball. I also like other teams too. It's not, we're so worried about what team people are rooting for that we're not really thinking about, yeah, baseball's a great game. Let's just watch a game of baseball. Mm. And politically, that's certainly happening, just today. We had the Speaker of the House describing our president as an emperor because the two of them can't sit down and have a conversation. They're so worried about each side. Each one has an agenda, and they just can't talk, and it's stupid. Just get together and have a conversation about an issue. And then maybe through conversation, we can grow. Bringing it back. That's why I like that Quantum is a moderate. That's why I like that Quantum chastises for Woody for not being a moderate. You know, to me, Quantum he's the guy I relate to the most in this story. I don't relate to Woody at all. Even though I'm more liberal, and Woody describes himself as more liberal, I'm still more like Quantum in a lot of ways in my behavior. Woody is just too out there for me as a person. He's not at all who I would choose to be or who I would choose to hang out with. And when Quantum's rolling his eyes at Woody, I totally get it. So, here's this character that I relate to, and then I find out he's a Republican, and I'm not a Republican. I'm okay with that. I think that's what was great about that moment is, common ground. We're going to have common ground. I do love the black guy leading the white supremacists.
I do. I think that's hilarious.
I thought it was so funny.
And the thing is, they forgot he was black.
Right, because he was on their team, and then they didn't care anymore. They didn't see him as on another team because he was on their team.
And I love how he has to put on his mask at the end of the issue because he says, "I need to get out of here before they
realize what team I'm on."
Yeah.
So, do you think that the militia learned any lessons?
No.
No,
I don't, because Quantum's right. He needs to put his mask on before they remember that he's black.
Yeah.
So no, they didn't learn any lessons.
I love how there's the militia is talking about how they hate liberals because liberals get all these handouts, but then like the two teenagers are pregnant.
Yeah.
Those kids are gonna need some handouts. The cover for issue number 8, the regular cover, actually reflects what's happening in the story.
Oh, really? Does it?
Yes, it's Quantum with a bunch of guys behind him wearing Quantum outfits,
Oh, yeah.
running. It actually
Yeah.
like the
That-
cover is what the story is about.
Is that the first time that's happened?
It feels like it's the first time that's happened because all of this time it's just been pinups, you know?
Yeah.
So please do that more.
You spoke about those kids that Woody was saving. Woody is a very comical person, but when it came to those kids, he was very serious about those kids.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes him real in a sense that he actually has empathy for people.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm reading in it a little bit too much, but maybe he's serious about kids because because of his past. All I keep remembering is in the last book we had is when he told his dad, going on and hit me, and
he had a rough childhood
before
he got in the Henderson household.
Yeah. So, is he hiding something?
Like,
is Woody hiding something from his past subconsciously? That's why he's so goofy and
well, no, I think that he's goofy because it's a defense mechanism.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, there's some stuff that happened in his child. I mean, we know that he was beat up by people as a kid. We're gonna learn in the next volume about some of the decisions he made after he left the Henderson household, because you remember he did leave.
Yeah.
So it's a defense mechanism.
Right. Well, and I feel like it was a way for him to cope with the bad foster parents that he's had in the past, and it's just his way. The humor was his way of defending himself, like you said. So it just made me wonder what happened to him in his past to make him this way. And when those kids came out, it's like his real personality came out for a split second, and it's like, oh, this is who Woody really is, and he doesn't even know who he really is. And the other time it really came out is when he read Magnum's prepared email, and he's like, holy crap, this is not good. I gotta go tell Quantum real quickly. I think it's just a neat little delve into his psychiatry of as a person.
I can't answer your question because we're getting close to catching up, so there's not much that's happened after this volume. But I would agree with you. I'm sure that some stuff happened.
I'm sure some dark stuff happened to that dude.
What's your favorite cover, Nick?
No brainers to connect the dots.
No, absolutely no brainer.
I picked that out when you gave it to me like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
to read.
It's a great cover. I gave that to my son, and he did it. He connected the dots and he colored
cool.
it in. And
there was one number that's bigger than the others, though. Is there a reason for that?
I don't know.
It's clearly bigger.
When we went to the Valiant offices, they were the first time we went, they were still working on that cover, and they go, and there's one of our editors who spent all day yesterday connecting dots to make sure that cover made sense. That's what we pay him for. But it's a great cover. This is filled with a lot of great covers, though.
Yeah, there are a lot of great. All of them are really great.
And all the covers kind of tell a little story. You get a little, if you stare and you look at the cover, you get a little humorous part. Like there's the one where Quantum is scaling the building, and Woody is just going up the elevator.
Yep.
Easter eggs?
Sure.
So there was 2 great onomatopoeias. When
I saw them both, but I don't remember what they said.
When the overweight archer was killed,
Archer,
bow and arrow.
Oh,
Which I just mimed again. Visit previous episodes. So he's hit with a missile and then blown up, and the onomatopoeia was Fat Doom.
Yep.
And then there was another one that was Badass.
Yeah, that one. That was my favorite one.
Another Easter egg. Quantum is not the militia's only favorite Valiant character because some of them were wearing Bloodshot t-shirts.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm gonna say this as vague news as possible. Issue number 1, the goat is Easter egging all over the place. If I'm not gonna give you back the volume, but if you read Goat Zero and then you read the first issue of this trade and you saw what the goat was doing, you'd be like, "Oh, that makes total sense."
Okay.
I totally get it now. So, good foreshadowing. Did you like the story?
I liked the second 2 books at the end when they were dealing with the militia.
Yeah.
The other 2 books beforehand, not as much.
Okay.
It's mostly because Woody just
Drives you crazy.
he drives me crazy. I like Woody though. I like his humor, and I like Quantum's humor, but sometimes it's just too much.
Yeah.
And there's no character development between them, and I'm just waiting for that character development, and it's not happening. So
that's interesting. I don't know if there can be to keep the element, to keep the humor, and I do think that sometimes Asmus pigeonholes extra jokes in that don't need to be there. For example, 69, or here's one when 69 calls, the ringtone is Katy Perry's Teenage Dream. Gross. Not funny. Trying too hard.
So with that said,
sorry.
I mean, I it's tough for me to say, but I enjoyed it, just not as much as the others.
Yeah.
So
You have kind of a similar feeling. This is how you felt with the first volume.
Yeah.
Woody, you liked it, but it was still towards the bottom.
Yeah.
Of what you liked.
Which really upsets me because I just love the idea that it's a comic and it's funny, much like Archer and Armstrong. But the type of humor here is different than Archer and Armstrong. I like Archer and Armstrong humor better because it's more realistic. This one is like, you can't be that stupid, dude. Yeah. Which is why I started wondering what happened to Woody in the past.
I see.
Yeah. But still, just sometimes it's too much for me. So I enjoy it, but not as much as I want to. I don't want to go so far to say that I mildly enjoyed it because that made it sound like I didn't enjoy it as much as I did, but it's teetering on that edge just because of that.
Did you like this one better than the first volume?
I like this one a little better than the first one because of those last 2 books, because that was more...
Yeah, so did you like it more because you thought the story was more realistic and more grounded?
Yeah.
Did you like the art in the first one better than the art in this one?
I don't remember the art in the first... you mean the art in the I thought you meant in the first trade.
In the first trade, yeah. The art. Did you like the art?
Was it this one?
This guy's art, yes. Did you like his artwork better?
Actually, I'd have to say that I kind of like Ming's a little better.
Really interesting.
I don't know. I'd have to look at a comparison again.
Yeah.
Rather than just that, but as much as the artwork here kind of annoyed me, it still fit very well. So I'm just gonna go with that. I don't know.
What do you think? You think I liked it?
Do I think you liked it? I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it. I like the first volume better. I liked the first volume because it was making fun of superheroes and how ridiculous that is as a notion that there could be superheroes, people wearing masks and such. I like the art better in the first one. I like this one too. I like it for different reasons. I don't mind Ming Doyle's artwork. I think that it's rough in places, but I think that's okay. I do agree with those people who think that she can't draw vehicles, but that's okay. You know, not everybody can draw everything. And I'd rather a comic artist be able to draw faces than draw a car. I think that's more important. I thought that this story certainly was thought-provoking. You know, I think it's one of the better ones we've read altogether. I like Quantum and Woody more than I like Exo Man of War. I like Exo Man of War, certainly, and again for much different reasons. But I think there's a lot more here to chew on, and so I enjoy that. We are kind of at the end of the third phase of books.
Oh, are we?
Yeah. How you feeling about these books?
Oh, in terms of favorites?
Yeah.
And stuff. Okay. Are these all of them?
Yeah.
Are we counting Harbinger Wars?
As I count it as part of Harbinger.
Okay.
Yeah. That's not a separate thing.
Number 1 is Harbinger. Number 2, Bloodshot. Number 3, Archer and Armstrong. Number 4, Quantum and Woody. Number 5, Exo Man of War. Number 6, of course, Shadow Man. Did I miss any? Oh, yep. Ninjak. Ninjak isn't anything.
You haven't gotten. There's no Ninjak yet, or at all, ever. No Ninjak.
Didn't we talk? We had an Ninjak episode.
We talked about Ninjak and Exo Man of War.
But Ninjak came. He was in an episode. He was in an.
We did not have a ninja. There's been no Ninjak trade.
All right, never mind then. There's no Ninjak.
This is the old Valiant. They're selling old Valiant comics right
now. I disagree.
Yeah. Okay, you can disagree, but
why would they have one old Valiant here?
This old Bloodshot, old Ninjak, old Shadow Man. They're trying to sell the old. They're reprinting the old stuff.
I've been wondering why I haven't seen that cover yet. Okay.
I'm gonna go Harbinger, Archer and Armstrong, Quantum and Woody, Exo Man of War, Bloodshot, Shadow Man. What do you think we're reading next, Nick?
This time I have no idea what we're reading next. It's Unity! What is Unity?
I guess you'll have to tune in to find out.
You lied this whole time.
What?
You know exactly what Unity is.
I've never heard of that word ever before.
We have a bunch of people.
Who do we
Ninjak!
Have? There's Ninjak.
It's some...
That's Eternal Warrior.
Oh, that's Eternal... Looks totally different. Exo Man of War and Toya Harada and Livewire.
You got it. So you can contact us. You should do that. At VE Podcast is our Twitter handle. What's our email address?
VEPodcast@wordpress.com.
That's our website. Our email address is vepodcast@gmail.com.
I'm tired.
Hey, what are we doing on our 25th episode?
We are giving away a gold book, or I should say, Josh is giving away a gold book because I don't have any.
So, if you want a gold book, and I know you do, I know you want one, you need to go on iTunes, and you need to give us a review. You need to write a review and tell us how you feel about our podcast. We, of course, want 5-star reviews, because that would make us feel good about ourselves. But, you know, whatever you gotta say, we'll take.
I'll understand if you guys give a 1-star review for my botched physics in the last episode. Like, I know that it was really, really... I know you were all screaming at your listening devices that I got it wrong.
But more than just getting a gold book, guys, leave us a review because you've enjoyed our podcast. That really would mean a lot to us. If you've listened to this podcast and you've gotten any sort of joy out of it, please write us a review, because that's how other people find this podcast. That's how search engines and algorithms work. We need your help, and we would really appreciate it. So thanks for listening. We're going to talk about Unity next, which is going to be awesome. And
you know what's really ironic is that we're reading Unity next, and you and I are now going to part ways.
What does that mean?
You're going home, and I'm going home. Different places. We're
Oh,
parting ways.
I thought you were trying to start a fight with me. Because if you're trying to start a fight with me, Nick, I got to tell you, you're a real bag of cat asses.